Welcome to Facing Time. I am Jared Zuckerman, and today I'm here with my guest to have a conversation all about his restaurant. He's the owner of New York Burger Co., which is a staple in Chelsea, New York. We're going to talk all about his restaurant and how it impacted him at the beginning of COVID-19 and what ultimately drove his decision to temporarily close his doors, what he's going through to reopen, the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, and everything he's going through with his landlords so that he can open his doors again. He goes by the name of Christos Zisimatos. Welcome, Christos.
Thank you, Jared.
Okay, so let's just jump right into it. You're the owner of New York Burger Co., which is a staple in Chelsea, New York for 16 years. And at the beginning of COVID-19, I'm sure like many other restaurant owners, we didn't know what was going on day by day. Everything was unknown. So what was that transition like for you to have that in-house service to only offering delivery and takeout?
Yeah, so first thing is like you try to plan ahead in the restaurant, at least in every industry, of course, try to plan ahead. But that changed once this thing happened. Everything was just changing. News was coming out every day, something new, and how this was going to progress to where it eventually went. So you had to change daily on the spot during shifts and how things would affect the business and affect our employees as well. From one day to another, it could be something completely different, which it was.
Did you feel at this time when you were just trying to figure out ways to keep the doors open so you can keep getting food out to the community, right? Because most places close, people need to eat, and you were offering delivery and takeout. Did you feel you had support, let's say, from your landlord? Did you hear from them? Were they working with you at all? Or were most of your expenses still, in a way, business as usual, even though your restaurant was not business as usual?
Everything was business as usual, except our business.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, of course. There's no communication really because everybody was also in shock, I think, part of that, where we kind of came up really quickly. But at the same time, we were just really focused also what we were trying to do and how to do it best and adjust. Safety, that was the main focus from the start. But yeah, there was no much communication between us and them.
After 16 years of successfully running New York Burger Co., at any moment in the back of your mind, even if you didn't want to admit it, did you feel that maybe this could have been the end of New York Burger Co.?
Yes. There's always in the back of your mind that question still lingers. You hope not, and you do your best for that not to happen. And the time that we've been off during this whole COVID-19, you try to put that to the side so you don't focus on it because that could take you down a path you don't want to go.
So you ultimately, obviously, temporarily closed your doors.
They stopped mid-March where that change happened to delivery and takeout only. And we went to the end of March. During that period, obviously, we know what happened in New York City and the state of New York, but obviously New York City was the biggest hit. So, we took that ride for 2 weeks, and eventually we came to the conclusion that, it's not in our best interest for ourselves, but more importantly for our employees as well, because we have to think like that too. As a business owner, you're also the leader of the team. So you have to take into consideration not only what is best for you, but also what is best for your team. And that decision came where we saw these numbers skyrocket rapidly. And especially, I think almost all of us in the store live in the 5 boroughs, which were the biggest hit. So the coming and going, the mass transportation that we all use, myself included, you put yourself at risk and you put others at risk when you come into the store. At that point, we decided, look, it's for our best interest and for our teams that, it's time to shut it down so that the most important thing, our safety, that's the highest thing that we want to take care of. So we decided, let's close and keep ourselves safe.
Do you think that it's going to be a challenge for you to get some of your team back when you need them soon, knowing that unemployment possibly is allowing them to earn more weekly because of the extra unemployment benefits because of COVID?
So through my conversations with them, I don't see that as an issue because we all have an eagerness to come back to work. My conversations with them, they feel the same way with me. I want to go back to work because I love what I do. And I love that interaction with the customer. That's it. That small interaction that we might have just of taking an order or serving someone and just seeing that pleasure that they get. It's great. And, I feed off of that. So I miss that.
It's great to hear that the team wants to come back and they enjoy doing what they do. I mean, let's face it, especially in New York, whether you own a restaurant or regardless of what role you play, working at a restaurant is not easy.
No, it's not. Long hours, we hardships, doubles sometimes. Yeah, it's hard work. You're always on your feet. You're not sitting down. You're around fire. You're around all this different elements, dangerous elements sometimes. But there's still a passion for it. There's still a love for it. There's still the art of making food.
And now you need funding for revenue that you haven't been getting because of having your doors closed. And my understanding is you applied for the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP.
Correct, yeah. There's no real communication, at least with the big banks. You applied and it's like, okay, we'll communicate if we need something, and then when it kind of gets approved. And then I didn't hear back from them until 2 or 3 weeks later after that, no, 3 weeks later, where I just got an email, and the email said, you know what, you have not been approved because of maybe misinformation or inconclusive information. And unfortunately, the call center won't be able to help you with this. So we're caught off guard, like, oh my God, what are we going to do now? Luckily, we went through an online service and uploaded the same documents, and within 2 days, got approved. So, it was kind of like a roller coaster. You were like, put everything in, then you were excited to get the money, then it took too long, and then you didn't get approved, and then you went through the whole process again, and then you finally get approved.
Very recently, I applied for PPP, and it was a Friday before the weekend, and then Monday morning, I got an email saying I was approved, and 3 hours later, it was deposited.
There you go.
I couldn't believe it the next business day.
I hear different things depending on what bank, what lender you use, different experience. And I've myself had the same, 2 different experiences.
And now you have your landlord, right?
Yes.
And we all know that's one of the biggest things that people need to do is talk to their landlord, because if a restaurant does not open again, they're not going to have someone to take their space. If they don't have someone to take their space, they may not have someone there to take their space for a while, right? That's not good for them. It's not good for you. What's going on with that? Because your landlord wasn't working with you prior when you did have
there was no communication prior. Obviously, it's a big expense for us, and especially in New York City, where we pay probably the highest square footage probably in the country, I think. I don't know, but
you're also in a prime spot in Chelsea, right? You're 23rd and 10th.
23rd and 10th,
yeah. So you're right in the heart of.
We paid what market should have been, what should be based on normal life. We're not living in a normal life right now. So there has to be a communication. There's been very little, which is a little frustrating. I know they're waiting to see how the PPP also, it's a big part with the PPP, I think, and from what I read. And there are allocations how you can use the PPP. So for us as a restaurant, 75-25 was the ratio that you could use for payroll, and then the other 25 would be for rent, utilities, and stuff like that would be that portion of the PPP.
Which you still don't know how that 25% is going to be underwritten and what you're going to owe back, what necessarily the interest rate is going to be, right? So even that's...
Correct. So, but that's the thing that they're waiting, and I think that's what they're waiting for, to really have a communication with us, because now you're starting to see that there's, I think, legislation working around, at least communication, to change that ratio. So that if the percent for the payroll comes down, and obviously the percentage of rent, the other 25% can go up, so which will benefit how much you get paid for your landlords. So they're definitely waiting for that, because obviously they could say, okay, now you could give me 35% of the whole PPP loan. And you can, we'll take a big portion of that for the back rent that you owe since you've been closed. If you don't have a clear sense of what your rent will be, which is our biggest expense, what are we really planning here? To open with blind eyes, not knowing what we're going to pay?
It's 16 years. You spent 20 plus years in the industry. You have your baby, New York Burger Co. Everybody wants to come back to work. You have PPP. You feel, okay, I'm pretty much there. I got everything I need locked and loaded, but then you still don't know what kind of business you're going to do when you do open. You don't know what product is going to cost, because there's some food products that have skyrocketed in cost because of availability.
Sorry to interrupt, but I'll give you an example of that.
Yeah.
So our biggest product that we use in the store is ground beef. When we closed, it was starting to tick up, but we pay $3.49 per pound before we closed, and eventually, it would go up every week $2. So it would go to $5. It would go to $7. The highest ever went was $9, and I was like, that's crazy.
From $3.49?
Yeah, how can I even open if my biggest product that I get in is it's going to be so much more expensive for me? That's concerning, because your margins come down, but it's and that was one of them, just our main one.
Right. And I'm sure there are people also listening thinking $3.49, oh, that's inexpensive. And even $9, which is astonishing.
Yeah.
Some may still think, who are not in the industry, oh, it's not that expensive. But if you think about, okay, that's just one component. Now you have all the seasoning, you have everything that goes on the burger, the bread, the packaging, everything else, it adds up. And I mean, the reality is, let's face it, you can't price people out.
No, you can't.
Right? People won't order. And then if you're not turning a profit, are you doing this for the love of it only? Or do you also need to
You're not going to charge $12, $14, $15 just for a plain cheeseburger just so you can make a margin. You're like, that's not realistic.
I can imagine it's also difficult to negotiate pricing, because the company you get it, let's say the ground beef from, they still needed to get it from someone, and their price has gone up. So it's all on the food chain.
Yeah, it was supply chain, the whole thing.
Well, okay.
But luckily, we've seen them start coming down now. As other states open up, we've seen the production come up. So definitely demand is up also, so that it has gradually come down. Yes, to where it was, no, and that's going to take some time.
So you're set up with PPP, you're ready to go. Product is getting expensive, but hopefully you could figure that out. But now you're still dealing with the landlord. Are they discussing this with you? Or do you feel that they're giving you pushback? Are they trying to act as if nothing's wrong, because obviously it's business and they don't want to?
No, I think they know that there's going to be some kind of compromise. They're just trying to gauge what it's going to be and what the future lies for them as well. What are they asking? What business is going to be like? How many vacancies are going to be? And they're waiting so they could get the best that they could do, because they have a clearer picture of how it's going to be. But communication, at least with me, hasn't really been there. Either 2 weeks, just because I reached to them and be like, hey, anything new? We exchanged phone numbers. When are we going to have a conference call? You're always trying to reach and try to get their attention instead of them trying to reach out to you in a timely manner.
Sorry, I'm looking to see if I'm blurry. I guess I'm not. But Christos, are your landlords though, are they giving you problems? In other words, is this sort of a we work together for a common goal thing, or do you feel that this is just another hurdle that you're battling?
I don't know, because I really haven't had that detail of a conversation yet.
Really?
Yeah.
So
we haven't gone to those details. It's like, it's really been for 2 months. Hey, obviously, you know what's going on. I would like to, be ahead of the game and have a conversation with you and keep an open dialogue. And it's been, yes, wait 2 weeks. Are we going to communicate? Yes, here's my phone number. Let's set a date. Wait another 2 weeks. Wait 3 weeks, which never really has come down to have a conversation about anything, really.
But Christos, don't you have 8 weeks to use PPP? And don't you have to then also prove to them what you used it for? So you really have to use it in 8 weeks. And yet you have a landlord that's, I don't want to say taking their time because maybe they don't know, right? I don't want to assume. Mm-hmm. But you're still waiting for them to come to a decision so you can open. So how do you open your doors when you have a team that's waiting for you, but you still need to source product, which you probably don't know what the pricing is going to be. That changes anyway daily. And then you're still waiting for your landlord to give you an answer. How do you open your doors when you're still waiting for a landlord that doesn't have that sense of urgency?
So like I said before, they're trying to see, yes, we have to use the PPP within 8 weeks as it is right now. They might change that. They might extend it. There's proposal of 24 weeks, there's 12 weeks, there's 16, 18. But I think, like I said before, I think they're waiting to see those final numbers. So if that 25%, which is for utilities and rent, gets bigger, they could get a bigger piece. On our side, yes, we have to start using it now that we got approved. And I think the only way really to do it is say, look, hey, either I pay my employees and keep my doors closed, which is fine because I don't know what lies ahead since I'm uncertain with rent and whatever other stuff, costs of food costs. Or you say, look, I got the money now, I'm going to use it. Let's open up and we'll take the ride and see where it goes.
You're sitting on PPP, you have everything lined up, now you're just waiting for the landlord.
Yeah, pretty much, yes. But we're going to have to start using the PPP once we get funded.
Phase 3, your doors are open, you use the PPP, you already have your agreement with your landlord, your team's excited, they're back, people are feeling a little better, and now phase 3. And now hopefully you can have a little in-house dining.
Yeah.
And you don't have outdoor seating. What do you anticipate? And maybe you don't anticipate anything specific because everything's still unknown, but what do you anticipate your phase 3 may look like when that actually happens?
Separations of tables, there's going to be limitations, and cleanliness is going to be the name of the game, because you want to show your customers that, yes, I'm serving you something safe because I want to be safe. I want you to be safe. And, that environment of safety will be definitely the number one concern on the customer's mind. So you want to portray that as much as you can.
I agree. Comfort and safety, those factors are very important because, people are making less money now than ever, right? We have a record high of unemployment, which is a scary thought. And people are not going to eat out as much. And when they do, they're going to want to go to their favorite places. So why New York Burger Co. versus, everybody else in New York City? So that's interesting. I also think that, compartmentalizing each department, right? So your host never goes to back of house, for example, to the kitchen, to the POS system. The person at the POS system never goes beyond that, so they can't cross-contaminate in the dining room or in the kitchen, right? And then the kitchen team stays specifically in the kitchen so they can't cross-contaminate the host or the guests in the dining room or the POS system. All that stuff I think is going to be really important and a key factor to having a successful, reopening, however that may look, just compartmentalizing each unit so that way there's less crossover and you can't contaminate. And then plastic forks and knives, throwaway menus that are probably going to be shortened with the offerings, napkins, right? I think disposable napkins are going to be really important. I think all these things are going to be key factors in helping guests feeling safe and comfortable. And then, of course, you know me, making sure we share that on social media so that way people actually understand what they're doing before they come in, right? Because if you anticipate it. Also, too, places that never offered reservations will probably do that. So you don't just have walk-ins. There's a certain time. So if someone comes in at 6, we know they're coming in at 6, and therefore we're ready for them. Versus someone just coming in and hanging out. Well, now we're cross-contaminating, and now we have a cluster of people when we're supposed to be spread out. So I think organization, more now than ever, is going to be such an important tool for a successful and sustainable business, at least for the next year. I recently had a conversation last week with 2 or 3 different restaurant owners who told me their landlords are just simply not working with them. They're just not.
Yeah, there are a lot of them going to be like that, and it's unfortunate. And the mom and pop stores, like myself, are going to be the ones that suffer the most. And, you know, we give something different than what national brands give. And those are going to survive because, you know, obviously they're huge corporations. But the mom and pop, they're going to be the ones that need the most negotiation, and some are not going to want to negotiate like that. And a lot will close. And that's unfortunate because, like I said, we give something special. I just hope for the best because that includes me. I'm in that group.
What would you do if you were working with a landlord and let's say there's no budging and they're being difficult and you're thinking, I don't know if this is going to work? Would you just say this is not worth it, you're done? Or what would be that deciding factor? What would be that last thing you attempt to do to try to make it work with the landlord?
You don't want to go down the road and expect that you're going to be able to pay what you were paying until the end of the year into next year. So on the business side, that might be the best decision. Maybe there's something better next door. Maybe that landlord, you know, has a vacant lot now and he's more negotiable. Maybe that's something like that will work, but it's also a business decision. As much as, you know, I want to stay where I want to stay because I love the community and they love me, and we, you know, it goes both ways there. At the same time, I can't put myself in the red just to be there. I can't.
Love doing it.
Yeah, it's a business too.
Yeah.
You have to, you know, you have to put that in consideration as well. So, you know, it's going to be tough. I'm going to fight as hard as I can, but
Hope so.
Yeah.
We want you open. And I think smart communication and realistic expectations are 2 important things because a landlord should understand if you're not there, your store is going to close. You have a lot of square footage. Who's going to open up right now?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you know their pricing is going to go down for someone new. Right. Correct. It's not good for the landlord.
And that
What's up?
And when that will be when they'll be able to rent it out.
Exactly.
For a lower rent.
Right. So I think smart communication is key and not just reaching out and thinking, okay, this is what we need to do because I'm not going to reopen because that's just defensive, right? But then I think realistic expectations of the restaurant owner not thinking that, you know, they're going to pay, you know, 60% less.
Correct, yeah.
So I think it's just, it's a good give and take. And I just hope that many restaurants can have that smart communication that you're having because I really want to see a lot of these smaller restaurants open. They deserve to open. They work hard. They have amazing food. So, I'm just thinking about it in high hopes because we want you open and I cannot wait to have you open again. And with that mystery question, a question I want to ask you, which you do not know I'm going to ask, a question you're going to ask me, which I do not know. As my guest, you make a decision. Do you want to ask first or do you want me to ask first?
You ask first.
Me ask first. Okay. If when all the restaurants open up again and you're not going to New York Burger Co., where else would you go for a burger? Where would you cheat on yourself with? Where would you go?
In New York City, or
Anywhere. Yes, New York City. New York City.
got it, New York City. Good question. But I think I would go more of an upscale. So definitely a steakhouse, probably like Peter Luger.
Okay.
Peter Luger, yeah. Brooklyn, Peter Luger.
I've never had a Peter Luger burger. Whenever I've been there, it was always for the steak.
Yeah, same here. But was there for lunch, and that's when I was like, you know what, let's try it, because I never tried it. It was always same like you, always steak. And it was awesome. It was good.
All right, a Peter Luger burger. That's where you would cheat on New York Burger Co. for
That's what I would cheat on.
burger. Nice. Okay, I have to try it. So when they open again, we'll have to go and try it, because I haven't. So,
Awesome.
All right, good answer. Good answer. I like it.
I had to think about that.
So,
Funny thing is, my question to you is about a burger as well,
okay.
but more specific. You have all the ingredients you want. What burger do you build if it's your last burger you're going to have?
If it's my last burger I'm going to have, that just made it tough. I would probably import Wagyu beef.
Okay.
Money would not be an issue, because if it's my last burger, I'm just going to go all out.
Yeah.
And I would just do a beautiful Wagyu burger with very little seasoning, because the meat is one of the best you could possibly get in the world, right?
Agreed.
I don't even know if I would even use cheese or anything to disguise the meat. I would just get the best possible bread, use a little bit of seasoning, and just put that sucker on a nice buttered, toasted bun or whatever it is with Wagyu beef.
Potato bun or brioche?
Brioche.
Cool.
Toasted brioche.
Nice.
Yeah, a small bun though, because I wouldn't want too much bread. Again, that meat's got to be good.
Meat to bread ratio. It's important.
That's what it's all about, right? We always talk about that too.
Yeah. I'm surprised that you didn't put any cheese or any toppings on it.
It's Wagyu, man.
Yeah.
Don't mess around with that stuff. I mean, that's already perfection.
Fair enough.
Burger guy, you know this.
Oh, no, but I love my cheese. I love my my toppings. Yes, I don't disagree with the burger you built.
Hey, that's my answer, right? No, I love cheese. More cheese, the better. I love seasoning. Just pile that stuff up. I mean, you've seen.
Yeah.
It's
just interesting to hear what people have as their last burger, because like you said, you went straight for the quality of the ground beef.
Christos, thank you so much for having this space and time conversation with me, talking about all of this. Everybody should definitely follow New York Burger Co. so they know when you're going to reopen, which will happen, so everybody can get your twist on a classic burger. And I'm glad we're getting through this and we're all healthy and safe. And we just need to. I'm getting a little frustrated because I just want places to open,
Of course. Yeah, it is frustrating, but like you always say, stay positive. That's what
I love that. So everybody,
mine as well. Thank you for having me on.
Of course, you know how much I cherish our friendship and I respect what you do. So I'm excited to finally have you on, which we've been talking about for a while. So everybody, thank you for joining me, Jared Zuckerman, with Facing Time and the conversation I'm having with Christos Zisimatos, the owner of New York Burger Co. in Chelsea, New York. And as always, stay positive.
Nice.
Nice. We did it.